And we've got Beastyqt spawning in on the north side of the Delhi Sultanate here on Dry Arabia. You've got our beautiful 3 sacred sites across the middle, which are usually points of interest for the Delhi Sultanate to get all that sweet, sweet gold. Look at these scouts running in parallel across the middle of the map.
And I was just thinking about this, actually. Didn't we see this matchup between these two players last week in a best of 5 on this map?
It might have been. I can't remember.
I can't remember if it was BC. I remember B had a game where he played the Abbasids, and what he done, it was against Delhi. He dropped a TC towards the deer close to the sacred site and used that as a pivot point to block sacred sites. Wonder if he's going to do something similar in this game.
Well, one thing's for certain, those boar will be super, super safe. They do not have to worry about these two guys here today.
I remember what. Wait. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Beastie versus B was the best of 3. I'm going the wrong way. I think it was against Marine Lord was the best of 5. That's correct. And I believe I think they had this matchup. It was very interesting as well because typically you look at Dry Arabia, you think, yeah, it's Delhi favored Matt, should easily win. But B, he proposed in a beautiful way, right? He whispered into your ear, Abbasids don't need buffs. I'm curious to see if you can do it here once again.
And we've got a kind of a forward berry spawner on the left side. It's kind of side, I guess not really forward there for Beastyqt. Looks like B also has his berries off to the northwest side of his base. These are 2 civilizations that get those berry gathering bonuses, so it's going to be a lot of berries. While the boar may be safe, the berries will not be. There's the second one. Both players, I like the map generation. Looks pretty even here. Good job on the seeds here for the tournament admins and just going around and collecting those sheep. I don't know. When I'm playing both these saves, I always think of the sheep as just bonus, so you get them.
Yeah, it's like it's something that you can have as a fallback. If you're going to get Agresto, it can be very important just to keep your opponent off you. I think it's actually more important for the Delhi to have the sheep. And as you can see, he's got plenty of 50. No, holy cow, holy sheep, sir. All right, that's a lot of lamb. And it's actually beneficial here because B can build his TC towards a deer stack to get more food or towards berries, right? You're not going to build additional ones. And the concern is, although the Delhi are usually the tempo aggressor, the people that control the mid-map, we've seen plenty of games where the Abbasids can match that pace and exceed it because although they can't heal their units, they can negate a heavy amount of your horseman damage and also counter out both units in that regard by building camel archers.
Yep. I think Delhi really shines in that mid-late feudal age to the castle age period when those scholars are just, they can dish out so much healing that it's kind of hard to take a fight, and then they're also outproducing you with their efficient production a lot of times. There we go. We've got the classic scout interaction there on the gold mine already happening. But I'm sure this will be a race for these sacred sites once both these players are up.
And something that's interesting to think in mind with that whole idea of the healing here as well is that camel archers are actually quite a good way of sniping out these scholars. They do 12 damage when they come out feudal. It's pretty ridiculous. Like I made the comparison yesterday when we were talking with Dab. Like if you go for archers, you need 26 because they do 5 damage. Well, camel archers is less than half that because they're up at 12 and they have the mobility to quickly weave in and out and do exactly that, sniping scholars out.
Yeah, because sometimes the hardest thing is just being body blocked, trying to get to those scholars while just taking so much damage, running around trying to get to them. So yeah, those camels definitely are a high DPS unit for taking out the scholars. And there we go, H2 met for B and going to be getting a wheelbarrow. And I'm sure that fresh food stuffs, does he not have it in queue yet? Does not have it in queue quite yet, but he will in just a second. There we go, he drops that off.
Yes, you can't miss out on that good stuff. Especially when we know you want to go multi-TC and you're revealing it now on the stone. Beastie, of course, hasn't teched up yet, so can't even think about getting aggressive. No, don't call those scouts aggressive. I mean real aggression. Aggression that actually does something.
And what do you think Beastie's going to open up with? Is it going to be a stable, or do you think... Yeah,
it has to be Horseman, man. Like, if you're building spears to start with, like, there's a way you can do that. I think if you go for spears, you can start walling up the sacred sites very quickly. But I don't think that's his biggest fear here. I think he just needs the dynamic force that horsemen provide.
Yep, we see the plenty of stone coming in, so he's working towards that second town center. I'm kind of curious to see how perfect his macro will be when he drops that second TC, because that's kind of like the art of getting that down right on time, of course, while being harassed at the same time. He does have a barracks down, so he's going to have spearmen coming out.
And he has got a beautiful location for it to the northeast of this tree line you can see on the edge of our screen here, because there's gold, wood, and deer there, and it pushes you towards the sacred site. The importance of this is you can bridge your base between it and create kind of a proxy base with the racks on the front line towards that central sacred site.
Yep, so the spearmen are there to stop the scout harassment, and now B moving ahead. Probably going to go check out. Does he have a scout on the other side of the map? Has he seen this stable, or does he just know it's coming? Maybe so we have a stable and an archery range. Scholars being trained up there, but looks like he's going to go take a scout at his enemy's base.
It's just a predictable backbone. You know you're eventually going to need spears. Spears probably the most logical defensive unit to start with. And as a reaction to that, Beast, of course, going into the archery range and the stables. But make no mistake, this matchup will likely continue on prolonged feudal with all 3 buildings coming out. I think both players will have to go towards that. B might have a bit more flexibility where he just starts spamming a lot of camel archers with spears, and actually it could be quite effective here.
Look at this forward town center. I thought he might drop that on by those 2 berries back on the southwest, but he went right for the deer there.
I was saying that that's where it's going to go. Like when we were talking when we were on the south side of that wood line, it's like it could have been even better for the gold, but instead he goes for an even more aggressive posturing to min-max the gathering on the deer, but it also projects his influence across the map a bit more. Look how close he is to that central sacred site.
Yep. Well, what was it? I think it was one of the series we watched where they dropped the town center right on the sacred site. Someone was playing French. I can't remember last week.
So that was it was, I think that was B, actually.
I thought it was Beastyqt who did it. Sorry, in this series, maybe.
I can't remember. I think it involved B in the game. It was French versus, was it Delhi?
Yeah, because he was trying to deny the sacred site.
And I can't remember the players, but I remember that it was because the one you're talking about, he dropped a TC on the southern sacred site and then connected farms in between it, and then he got keep dropped by the Delhi player, who started just building a Maginot line, ironically, into his opponent's base.
So there you go. We see Beastyqt walling up the sacred site middle. And for those of you who might not know, the Delhi Sultanate, they get additional gold for capturing these sacred sites, and they do so early and often. So it is in their interest to grab these as it could really boost them forward to the Castle Age and supply their gold for years to come. And it looks like this one is going to be free. I'm not seeing any other military pressure really out of B for now. I'm sure he has a plan for it.
Yeah, he's just stockpiling right now. Like, he's gone secondary TC. You can't be too greedy. Notice he's gone defensive with the spears. The whole concept behind this is you want to bulk your eco and then be able to afford going into the premium units, right? Camel archers down the line, but you build up, you escalate, and that's why he's going for the stables first. We're basically going from, if you think about it, it's actually a cool escalation. 60 food to 100 food, up to 180 food. You know, we're not going in for the premium units because we're not French. We don't get that value out of investing that much into a single unit from the food department.
Yep, taking that western sacred site right now, and he's got another scholar heading to the east sacred site. That middle one's walled up, so he's probably going to take that one last. Does he have a scholar there as well? He does have that, so getting all 3 of those. And basically, once you hear that dong, 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 all the sacred sites being captured, the clock is ticking a little bit. You want to do something. Don't let Delhi just get all that.
I don't know if Beastie realizes if that's I hope he realizes that's a stealth forest on the left sacred site. It could just be he didn't have enough wood, but he's gone for the L shape, and if he leaves it an L, it's going to be a loss for him. There we go. He is going to rectify it. It was just a delay.
Oh, the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like I don't mock it. I've seen a player in the top 50. Admittedly, it was a guy who was getting easy matchups, but I've seen a top 50 guy get confused by stealth forest. I would hope that would never happen to Beastie, though, the amount of games he's played.
And B has a few horsemen out, but a lot of spearmen, but those are going up against archers, which are their counter. So we'll see if he's able to close the gap here, but I think B is going to be boxed out for now.
Yeah, he's just going to have to delay his timing. It doesn't feel good to give BC all these sacred sites like this, but there's a cool idea that can evolve behind this, which is if you stockpile a lot of units and ignore the sacred sites and go directly for your opponent's base, you can catch him castling up. And if you catch him castling up, you can, funnily enough, shut off the Delhi before it begins. And if there's one civ that are capable of that, if they have a good enough economy to do so, it's the Abbasids.
Yep. I was surprised he didn't try to deny at least one of those, but I'm not going to quite question his ways. Yeah.
The walls are up, right? Like, you're too late. Like, you know you're going to be too late when you go for the secondary TC. BC, it's to his credit what he done here. He saw the stone being gathered, he delayed it a little bit, and then he played straight into archers as an opener to get those walls up, which, of course, cost him a lot. And that's why B is now investing towards the base, because if you think about it realistically, he palisaded all 3 sacred sites. That's a lot of wood at this stage in the game.
Yep, and you can fight over the sacred sites, but there's the scholar healing, and then the defensive archers behind walls. It's easier just to go to the base and maybe take out a village or two, which we see one going down right there.
Nice
but
textiles.
Yep.
It's stopping him. Like BC, he's not an amateur. He's not going to fall for this as easily. It takes you a lot longer to kill any units here because he went for textiles. Only takes 25 seconds to the deli and doesn't cost you a penny.
Yep, but he is drawing some idle time for now, losing a few spearmen. Not a huge issue as he's still on, I think, 2. Did he go for 3 or 2? I think 2 town centers, looks like.
If you go 3 in this matchup, you kind of GG yourself. He has also started to spread out. Notice what's happened here. Beasty is not really playing many pocket ecos, but B is now starting to because he's now dictating pace. Because he directed his attention towards the Deli's base, Beasty now has 2 choices. Guard your own base or guard the sacred sites, but you sure as hell can't go into B's base.
I thought that boar for a second was posturing to attack.
He was thinking about it.
I mean, players sometimes will just aggro the boar for a tactical. I wonder if the archer can hit it. How's the aggro on the boar work when you shoot it there? Oh, big fight here. Scholars there handing out plenty of healing though, so probably not a lot going to happen.
This delay on the wood line is actually hurting Beasty a little bit in terms of his archer production, but keep in mind that he is teching up. The window's closing fast. The idea is decent, but the problem is Beasty is starting to amass troops at home. He's got enough to harass the midfield, and my issue is that B, because he never done anything about that central sacred site, he doesn't have a reinforcement route from his base.
Yep. Looking at the macro right now. Yep. Run!
Yeah, he just goes after anyone who's close by. You can even get some interactions where it will attack buildings. It doesn't attack walls from what I've seen, but if you garrison an outpost, for example, it will start wailing away on it.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering if there's a way to get the boar to start attacking the wall.
I mean, I've actually watched boars almost beat outposts that have arrow slits on them, so never underestimate Pumbaa.
Yep, so Beastyqt having this beautiful 3 sacred site eco. He is now into the 3rd age. Look at all those scholars that he is out. Do you think you'll start pumping out some elephants with these?
Elephants could work here because although you've got the camel on ease, it only affects horse cavalry. So it's not the worst of ideas, but I think mainly for him, as you can see, the lancers being prepped, it's just about getting quality cavalry. The problem with elephants is they seem good until you try to walk them across a map when your opponent has horsemen.
Yeah, definitely true. We see a spearman raid back there on the berries, drawing a little bit of idle time and chasing those villagers back to the town center.
Yeah, B needs his own tech up soon. I don't think you can do this for a prolonged period because now Lancers are going to start to come out and they'll be a good answer against your pitiful amount of spearmen and your horsemen that just don't match well.
It's easy to overestimate when you have like this giant ball of horsemen and spearmen that they'll be fine, but as those knight numbers climb and you've got scholars healing them, it just doesn't stack up.
Nah, and if you consider it, like BC's got 11 compared to
right
21.
There, look
He's
at
not
that.
that far behind. It's a little bit ugly for him right now. I'm not really sure what B is now delaying the game for because he's not getting his tech up. He's at least sniping relic gathering from Beasty, but overall, all this is doing is empowering Beasty because behind this, he is now starting to stock up the Lancers.
Yep. So we lost a few scholars, but not a big deal. He's trying to grab. Did he get any relics in yet? I don't think so. I think he stopped it. Oh, he's got 2 on the way back home.
Yeah, it made that free. The power of the deli, right? I have all these scholars. What do I do with them? So many things. Well, lol, this scare him off, but he's going to be harassed. Like, I love that B's doing this. This is actually what's keeping him in the game, is how long it's taken Beasty to gather these up.
Yep. Camel archers coming in, going to... Oh, down goes that scholar. There's a little chase going down the middle of the map. We got some horsemen taking out, I guess, some harassing archers.
Oh, that's convenient. Will you look at that? Well, nah, he's going to die too fast. Camel archers. Oh, no, the party. Oh, other side. This one should die, though. He needs to commit, but he doesn't want to because the engagement comes out from the horseman. Nice peel back. Will snipe both the scholars down, but it's going to cost him a lot because now the horsemen are pinching the camel archers. Sure, you killed 2 scholars, but most of your army could be cleaned up now.
Yeah, it looks like he's just focusing villagers.
Good luck with that.
Now I'll go to the archers.
Textiles, baby. I mean, maybe if you had Castle Age B, but he's just doubling down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has any plans on going to the 3rd age right now. And as not only you have the the knights or the man-at-arms or the elephants, but he's also got those free techs. And he's going to have those tier 2 techs of everything if you wait long enough.
And something that can eventually happen here is if B gets to triple digits in the villager department, he'll be able to push units while going for castle. But his goal right now is to pop gap, and Beasty's goal is to start his own version of Zoo Tycoon here, as we are getting at the first tower elephant.
Yep, we got our first elephant sighting of the day. Moving on out. Villagers, he is doing a good job of drawing a lot of idle time, chasing these villagers around. Military engagements have been amazing, but his villager numbers are still growing back at home, despite all that gold Delhi is bringing in.
Beasty has got a lot of stone right now, so I think we know what he's planning in the interim. Village fortresses.
Where do you think he's going to drop that? Right on the landmark?
I think originally he was considering sacred sites, but now it's too late because he got decapped here as that was ticking down. So now BC has to kind of reset. Probably wants to set up a line in front of his base, maybe try to create a safe area, and then boom into village fortresses. So his goal is to find the area of the map that has the most lush resources available. Gold, stone, especially even the wood. In fact, if we're going to do a Beasty Classic, it's going to be dropping a keep on a stone line just so you can buy more keeps.
Yep, I feel like those 3 horsemen right there have just been harassing those deer this entire game.
Wait, no, it's even better. Look at this stealth forest. TCs don't see the stealth forest. This is beautiful. Check the vision on B. Check the vision on B right now. He can't see this.
Uh-oh.
Look at that vision.
Unless he knows that a suspicious amount of the stealth force is missing.
I mean,
there
he's
he goes. He sees it now, but it doesn't matter. Too late.
Wow, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Like that is a beauty from Beasty. And remember that he got combat defenders, so these are only 600 stone each. If he drops some mosque here to get all the researchers quicker, this could be beautiful. The next 5 minutes could be absolute dominance for Beasty.
And there he goes, dropping that mosque right away to get that Wi-Fi, that mosque Wi-Fi, so that the garrison scholars back at home give the benefit there, and those keep techs will come in quicker.
And now these elephants, not exactly coming in quick, but coming in hot. And you can see the damage they can do here. The TC doesn't even have a repair crew. B has abandoned it, shifted entirely away. And remember, he only went 2 TCs, so no backup one after this.
And looking at the villagers, we got 86 villagers for B versus the 42 of Beastyqt, but there's those relics that are captured, not to mention all of the sacred sites.
Blocks off the lancers and the horsemen. Can't quite pinch the elephant, and he is going to be fighting underneath a keep with scholars. I don't like this fight.
Yeah, that's the hard thing.
Yeah,
the keep is what really makes the difference here. Like, that army could have maybe done something, but yeah, not underneath the keep.
And also now look what BC's done off the back of this. An unorthodox maneuver on the east side of his base. He sets up a secondary TC, but B spots it in its infancy. Will go up successfully and is insulating himself outpost, but now a weak point that B can look to expose. However, first of all, he needs to deal with his own weak points. Surrounds one of the elephants and brings him down. Pushes his opponent back, but with the scholars still here, it's impossible to get rid of all the elephants.
And, look at that sacred site timer. It feels like he's had all 3 the whole game, but B has been able to cap him here and there, and it's only at 9 minutes. It could be a lot further, but so he's done a good job at restarting that timer.
And something that is going to be a little bit awkward for Beasty as he transitions like this more into elephants. He's not going to have that maneuverability to go and counter these raids onto the sacred sites to decap him. Speaking of which, raid now coming in onto Beasty's wood line. Yes, he's recovering his eco situation, but he's still miles behind. Beautiful thing for him, though, is he's about to have 5 relics banked.
Yep. And camels are going to be good for raiding villagers quite easily out here.
Can I just highlight that B is still not even thinking about Castle Age? Like, this is just full feudal still, after all this time.
Hey, I appreciate some good Age 2 play. He's sticking out. He doesn't need to go to the Castle Age.
Oh, you're that classic, but I have camels now. What else do I need?
So look at those villagers.
God.
Oh my! I can't. The deer carcasses and the villagers.
I mean, when I see that many bodies around like a deer or any sort of wildlife, there's some sort of pagan ritual going on. I don't know. BC was trying to summon a greater demon of the bees to counter or take B back to the underworld, because right now he's proving a demon a nuisance. But now with that forward base coming online for BC, this is where the pressure's going to start to mount. If you think about what's happened for B, he's got a lot of camel archers, but they're not exactly efficient units for their cost because he still hasn't teched up. In fact, now that he's close to 20 camel archers, I'd love to see him just go for that Castle Age, because the benefits of getting those upgrades is very noticeable here.
Yeah, and you mentioned early on about, would we see a ton of elephants this game? Well, mobility is a thing, and B knows that. He's running around with the horsemen. He's got 5 here, 5 there, camels here, and so those elephants, to chase those around in the back of your base, while they might shoo them away, they're probably not gonna get the kills and aren't gonna be extremely effective. So he's kind of distracting, from being an overwhelming elephant army knocking on your door.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching Kingpin versus Spider-Man. Like, sure, if Kingpin grabs him, he's screwed. He's back broken, done sort of moment. But you got to catch Spider-Man, and he's a little bit too flexy, a little bit too fast. That's exactly what.
And
B
now
is
here, and here at the 20-minute mark, you see him looking to maybe neutralize 2 of the sacred sites, but all the relics have been captured, all 5 of them.
He's feeling good about the game. Got what he wants, and actually, you know what? Why do they even need to go to like Marvel for a metaphor here? Like, you kind of have it. You've got B versus the Beast here. The elephants versus all these little sting attacks. And these sting attacks will remain viable for a while as Beasty keeps rebuilding his economy. But my issue is what's happening to your base in the meantime. The elephant count and the lancer count is now escalating.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the Absent Dynasty. He just needs to get close enough to that one so important landmark. And here's a keep just slowly creeping forward. And with trebuchets, he is going to have to face this forward army eventually.
But keep in mind, this is not your signature Beasty keep. He hasn't dropped it on a stone line, so he's not gathering more stone on the front line. He'll have to supplement that somewhere else. The cool thing, though, is he's close enough now that his trebs can start to reach in and target out the landmarks.
Yep, so the elephants and trebuchets marching forward, taking out some houses. I wonder if he's knocked out any golden ages by doing that. Sometimes he can, but he probably has enough to have his second golden age. But
he should be like 42. Ooh,
now we have towers. Oh boy.
Yeah,
so probably some sprinkled towers there.
He's just going to consolidate himself. Like, he just wants a concrete holding right now, and B's getting desperate. Have you seen what he's building?
Yep. Yeah, well, he's got
rams.
Oh boy. And we also have we got a big army back here. He knows like this is time. So we're gonna see a big clash here that can be quite deciding. There's his 2 landmarks. That is all Beasty needs to do is take those out. The 2 sacred sites have been neutralized. He might go back and recap those, but yeah, those trebuchets. How many does he have? 2 right now? 3?
Yeah,
2?
He's also getting the grease axles. He wants to be able to disengage. I'd love to see him go for some mangonels off the side of this as well. It would just completely decimate the Camel Archers. Camel Archers are now reacting. The Tower Elephants are going to peel back. A lot of static defenses, though. Beasty needs to heal, needs to stand his ground. The problem is the wraparound's coming in. B swarming like bees here. So many spearmen in. But don't worry, elephants can be garrisoning. However, the static defenses might not last long against this. Healing coming out as the elephant count might be in danger. And the camels are starting to dominate this fight.
Yep, and the camels being able to snipe the scholar should he choose, but it looks like they're just taking out those elephants one by one there in this fight. They're circling around.
High damage, 13 damage per shot. Tower Elephants can't deal with all that fire coming in. Trebuchets can't assist, and this is why I want the mangonels. This is why I want someone else. Beasty only has elephants. Now, that might work in the low elo legend, but we aren't in low elo here. We're at high tier. Spearman count is getting low, though. B is also looking to take up behind this. Scholar's finally being taken down. Static defenses will remain, and B will be reset, but at least he covers his castle up.
Yeah, taking out a few Delhi villagers, of course, along the way, but those trebuchets have survived. He did lose his rams and a large mass army. He's going to be able to remass as those trebuchets continue to work on what is his final landmark.
The problem is the camels around the static defense is too long. I love the pinch onto the elephants, but there was no peel back straight away. And the problem is B, he was trying to cover his tech up. He's still nowhere near it. Look how long we've got left. This minute is going to feel like a lifetime. Bro,
Another
do you
keep.
even lift? I've heard of carrots on a stick for a donkey, but I didn't realize that elephants enjoyed meat, because it seems that those archers are being dangled in front of the elephants to have them walk places. I don't think I've seen that one before.
This landmark is donezo. He's repairing it, but look at the wood count for B.
Can we just focus in on that elephant? I don't care about anything else in this game. This just keeps going up. BC's like easy clat like. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
Oh, what the heck?
Nothing beats that.
What?
Beasty is so far ahead that he's discovered levitation technology.
Are those alive? Are they firing?
They are.
Where'd it go? Oh my gosh, scroll up. We gotta see that elephant.
Right now, they're parked in the other elephant. They got Ace Ventura'd. Oh, okay. They've gone back. They didn't like it that we were highlighting their magic tricks.
Did he just hit the next age during all that? What was that?
Yeah,
oh,
he was second up this whole time, but that's why he threw away his forces. But like I highlighted, it takes too long. It takes way too long, and this game is basically over. It was a nice idea by B, but the moment that you see that you push your opponent back, you need to find a way to retreat or find a way to snipe. What I would have loved to have seen out this game is a few springles that would have allowed him to take those drives out. But without that, this is donezo. I mean, if the elephants just dive in, that House of Wisdom's dead. Beasty's just playing with you.
I can't believe that thing is still alive.
Not for
so
long.
Low.
It's getting
Look
lower.
Keeves.
Look at the villagers coming in. It's like, okay, everybody needs to be repairing.
He's still alive, just barely.
Oh, he
there
calls it. 37 health, a little bit too close. He'll finally give in, and for good reason. Beasty was playing with his food there, demoralizing B further. Game 1 will go to the Beast on the deli.
Yep. The deli looking very strong. I mean, B stayed in H2 for a long time. I kept waiting to be like, okay, he's got a plan with this. He kept doing these raids, but ultimately, once he brought that keep forward and that stealth forest, that really took the fight to him, and he had to start to engage that front army, and his raiding tactics just weren't paying off anymore. And look at the villager counts that was going on there. Like, B was way ahead of villagers the whole game, but BC had all 5 relics. He had most of the sacred sites for a majority of the game, and it's just enough to keep his daily military army moving forward.
And it's because of the scholars. Like, the scholars throughout this game were so pivotal. Like, Beasty, we didn't get to preview it in the early fights because B was avoiding those fights for good reason. It wasn't going to be optimal to assault his opponent. But then we get to the late stage, like, you think back to that dive into the keep. Those scholars were just head patting the whole time. Those elephants took twice the amount of time they should have to kill.
Now you know what map we're going to be going to next now.
I wonder where we could be going. B's back is up against the wall.
Will he pick
the Chinese build great walls? Are we going to Chinese on 4 legs?
We will see very soon. So if you missed last week's, we had a crazy round. It was the best of 3 because it was on Saturday when I was casting with you, and it was B versus Beastyqt in round 3, and he built this forward barbican that it was like all these villagers fighting each other. They were in Dark Age for all this time. And
don't tease me.
In the end, after like I don't know how long that game was, B was able to eliminate Beastyqt